Okay, so it's 2 minutes past 6. Then I would like to start. Welcoming everyone participating to this webinar about digitization in tourism. It's a GIZ-driven project. We are the consultants of the GIZ in terms of digitization in tourism. And I would like to run you quickly through the agenda. So we have 60 minutes of webinar, split it into this short introduction and how to set the technical aspect on this Zoom tool we are using today. After that introduction, I will have that presentation of digitization in tourism, roughly 40-45 minutes, with 4 key blocks I would like to refer about. And after each of these blocks, I will give some space to answer appearing questions. And at the very end, with the time left in our 60-minute time frame, approximately 10 minutes, I will open all the mics and answer your questions you are having after the presentation. So that means that you now please mute all your microphones yourself. Choose your preferred language, since we do have translation available. Don't be confused by the language Russia. Zoom doesn't give the opportunity to pick Bosnian language, unfortunately, but it is translated in Bosnian language by Bianca Bratelesi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. She is that kind to support us with that translation in Bosnian language. As mentioned, after each section, so 4 sections I have prepared, 4 main ones, and after these I will check the Q&A possibility you have in your toolbar, or you are using the chat functionality available as well in your toolbar. So in both sections I will have a look about your questions and get back to the questions. And at the very end, as mentioned, we will have a Q&A session with the time left to answer all your questions appearing during this whole session. So who we are. I'm from Outeractive, hired by the GIZ as the consultant for the tourism digitization project we are running together. The company I'm working for, we are dealing mainly in 2 sectors: the B2C side, where we are running a huge platform for outdoor enthusiasts to get inspired, find information, and plan the next trip for their outdoor adventure. And on the B2B side, we are involving all the tourism stakeholders, from small entrepreneurs like apartment rentals, homestays, until to national tourism boards, and providing them with software and products. And our database we are providing, I like to call the ecosystem, and provide our services towards their needs to adapt it to their marketing and tourism strategies they are following. Starting with the presentation about the digitization in tourism, I would like to start with the statement of a former CEO of Google. And you can ask yourself if he was right or is right or not, since there is plenty of development going on in terms of devices, digitization, and change in tourism in general. So where are we coming from? Since you know it much better than myself, but in the former days, we asked ourselves, hey, where we should go for our next trip, for the weekend, for the summer vacation, winter vacation, depending. We just ask ourselves where we are going, and then we just picked the destination and we went. In the new approach, I personally ask myself, why should I go to a certain destination? Because I have the understanding they need to convince myself, because if you Google for a certain experience, everything looks pretty similar in the whole wide web. So I want to have my personal preferences fulfilled. Like, for instance, if you have kids and traveling to a certain destination, you want to have your certain activities for your kids, for yourself, for you and your wife fulfilled. That, for instance, activity mountain biking is possible, and the kids have an entertainment and kids club and whatever, and you can find a campground or a hotel depending on what kind of source you want, like to overnight stay in the destination. That these requirements you are asking a destination is given. Then a couple of years ago, all these smartphone devices appeared, and they changed the whole aspect of how to get the information and how to be involved in the customer journey. We are all in the search of new trips and new experiences. And then the next step of development are the voice assistants, the tools who you are speaking to actually, and getting hopefully an answer in terms of getting information what you have asked this little machine there. Looking at these changes, everything went from basically analog to a digital process. Another good example is music or video streaming we are doing. So normal television is hardly existing anymore. And with the little fella in our pockets, the smartphones, everything is available just with a thumb swipe away in your pocket or in your hand with this small device. And the approach and the task of a destination or stakeholders in tourism in general has changed due to that as well, because there are tools out there which are helping destination and tourism stakeholders by managing the task they are having in an automated way, and they can concentrate on their main tasks they are having, like building that brand awareness and managing their brand, and all the things on the right hand side you see on this screen here at the moment. Because without these technology tools, they need to take care about everything, the left hand side and the right hand side, and then quite often they have a lack of human resources and budget in the end to take care about all these tasks, and then the whole process is slowed down. This is familiar to you, the phrase destination marketing organization. In my opinion, or in our opinion, it should be changed into the management organization, because if you're using right tools, you can manage the task much easier instead of concentrating on the marketing by not taking too much care about the management task underneath the marketing. An example from Norway, how the digitization and the usage of a single key visual can change the whole tourism over there. So they use this key visual there for the Pulpit Rock for 3 years, so from 2016 on. And in the end, the reality over there looked like this, that this nature beautiful place over there is so much crowded that you really should be careful what you are asking for. Do you want to have more tourists and just guide them to a single hotspot? Because on the other end of the tourism in other places, there are hardly any tourists. So the marketing strategy should be well thought, and you should listen to these experiences other tourism destinations have, that putting the focus on single hotspots could lead into the wrong direction. So that's why our question, and this question is more relevant than ever in terms of COVID-19, we are all in at the moment, that concentrating on performance marketing isn't the smartest way, because concentrating on the main goals the tourism is following, like more bookings, more turnover, all performance, full beds, more guests in your destination. And then there are other aspects which aren't performance. So the data management behind I just referred to. More awareness is a mix. So if you are digitizing your destination, it's a mix of performance because you want to have more awareness. On the other hand, you want to simplify processes behind. The data distribution isn't performance at all. It's just finding synergies and working on these synergies. And then having multiple touch points available, that more awareness actually is possible, because concentrating on a single touch point, like concentrating on a single marketing performance, isn't clever at all. So that's why we are consulting and concentrating on a centric approach, that all the actions is about the guest, the future guest you want to have in your destination, the future guest who is visiting your website, who is searching for inspiration and information around your destination, and in the end, hopefully is traveling towards your destination because the information they have found are fulfilling their expectations they are having in a destination. This centric approach doesn't look very simple in a technical point of view. The structured data are the key fact of getting guests in that kind of approach and that kind of focus, that they can find all the highlights from the smallest stakeholder you can think of in your destination towards the destination, the DMO, taking care about the marketing and campaign-driven aspects to involve all these little stakeholders in the destination. To simplify that picture a little, you can structure that linked data picture into certain layers, which are filled with the content and with the information necessary to bring it to the right guest. And if you simplify it even further, that linked structure picture towards the layer system I just showed, you can bring it down to 4 key aspects of focus tourism should tackle. So that's the global reach, the tourism intelligence. This is for the analysis of the data. So what is going on site? What is the guest behavior? What is the engagement on site? This is a phrase used for tourism intelligence. Synergy partner network, which is benefiting the efforts everyone is investing in being present in the digital world, and of course using the right tools and having great solutions available to inspire and inform the guests about all the information you would like to share with future guests you want to attract. Starting with the global reach. Global reach, one of the main goals, sure, but based on the content. Why is content king? Because if you maintain your content once properly, and I'm not making it small in terms of effort, preparing the content you are having in your area, in the region, as a small hotel, as a tour operator, as a larger destination, it's quite an effort to maintain this content and prepare it in such a quality that all these platforms out there are really sharing this content, using the content, and you as the content provider are benefited by the distribution of this content. And all the platforms out there working in a similar system, that they have a centralized approach in terms of using one database, covering and storing your content like POIs, events, accommodation descriptions, bookable services, from guided trips to hotel packages, everything you can think of somehow needs to be digitized. And then as soon as it is digitized, the platforms can start distributing it. Also until an open data level where the content is available, where you have all the licenses in terms of picture rights, just as one example, that sharing your data is not getting you in legal trouble by using not the pictures where you are not having the right licenses. And the model of the platforms by distributing your data is leveraging the reach of your single touch point, maybe your existing website, or any kind of source you're using at the moment to build that awareness you want to have. And platforms like ours, for instance, we are supporting by leveraging the reach, ideally to a level you can't reach by yourself without investing plenty of marketing budgets. Here the example of our development curve we are having since the last years, and you see it's a really sharp curve we are having, where all the partners, all the B2B partners from the tourism contributing with their content. The users, on the other hand, are using the content for the inspiration and informational phase they're in, so for their customer journey. And that reach you can see here. That means cooperating with platforms gives tourism stakeholders, and it doesn't matter again if they are really small or really big, instant reach, instant reach in terms additionally to their existing website, for instance. Another example to visualize this is a project we are supporting as well. Eventually you have heard of it. It's the Via Dinarica project, a long distance hike across 7 countries over the beautiful Balkan area you guys live in. And the development they received on the website they are running, and the content integrated in the website is visualizing that reach tourism stakeholders can benefit from if they deal properly with the content creation and the content preparation with a high quality. Why is that reach rising that high and quickly? For all these digital travel guides out there, and this is also Google, as simply as that, if you type in hiking in a certain destination or cycling in a certain destination, you get instant a digital travel guide. And if your content is prepared properly with a high quality in depth in terms of information, how to get there and where to find all these hotspots and touristic highlights, then these platforms are using these data to highlight you in the search engines. And due to the quality of your content, you are simply gaining generic traffic without spending any single euro or dollar in any marketing campaign, because the content is providing and gaining that awareness by simply being distributed. And it's not only the platforms like TripAdvisor, Expedia, Outractive, for instance. It's also all the social media channels and platforms you can think of, because sharing the stories and building a nice story around your existing content, and with a single push of a button, you can easily distribute the data into social channels and benefit from the reach there. Is also the option where you are benefiting by investing the content and its quality once proper, and then you can share it very easy. Same for video, and YouTube, for instance, is one of the major channels. If the content and the tools are set right, very easy, you can integrate solutions like this in existing websites. That the red line, the tour description, is available on a 3D model provided by services. In the right down corner, you can see POI, so the mountain this little dot is running over at the moment. Then you can connect pictures, so audio and video files can be combined. And these services and these tools live from structured data. If the data are not structured, all these nice little tools have nothing to show, because they don't understand, they can't read your data. So cooperating with platforms and data hubs to make your data structure is actually beneficial towards these tools you're seeing at the moment. But going on the content is for sure just a part of the tourism game, as you all know, and booking campaigns is another aspect. But this is just a period of time where you gain that awareness. The content you're using as your king is sustainable, because it remains in these platforms as long as it is valid. And concentrating again on the right target group, on the right guest, brings me, who is the right guest? So where can you make the highest turnover? And this is a sheet from the ATTA, very valid. So the turnover in terms of budget, not budget, package tourists, in comparison to adventure travelers, you can see how much it is converting. So 4 travelers are compensating 100 package tourists already in your destination. So the big platforms out there are your influencers. They are spreading the messages you want to share. And by sharing these messages, you can be the pilot of what kind of message, what kind of information a user should find about your hotel, your services, your bookable offers you want to share. And the larger you are set up yourself there, the higher your influence and awareness can get. Shortly jumping into the chat section. Slides in PowerPoint are too small. But you are seeing the large one, right? So I can't change that. So you should see the large presentation there. If you're sitting in front of the smartphone, I can't change that either. So continuing with the tourism intelligence, as mentioned before, the analytics behind all these tools is also centric. So the right tools can deliver you much more than, for instance, Google Analytics, because they can deliver you on-site behavior. What are the people are doing in your destination? What kind of attractions they are visiting? Where they are going? Where they are spending their time? And if you bring it down to a community level, like we are operating, we have profiles from the users using your content, your destination content you're providing. That here on the example of my profile, everyone knows, jumping on this profile, what kind of main activities I'm concentrating on and in which areas I like to travel. So with these data available, analytics in terms of here on the example of heat maps of the biking activities on the left-hand side in Germany, just on the activity of biking, we highlighted it, the hotspots where the bikers are in Germany, and in the middle section, we brought it down to the trails available in Germany. So where are the hot spots for mountain biking in a certain area, down towards the trail network and the real paths they are using out there in your destination. So if you have these tools available, you can start engaging. Without these tools, not knowing very much about your guests, there's hard to engage with your guests on site. So because if you are engaging and receiving feedback from your guests on site, you are part of the experiences they are having. Either they are good or bad, but if they are contributing with a bad experience, you as the responsible authority behind, you can engage directly and contact them and turn a bad experience due to after treatment, more or less, in terms of a proper communication into okay, they are listening to me, they are taking care about my experience, and next time they have improved. Because if you think about this analytics of this whole journey the guests are in, and you as a destination or tourism stakeholder you are in, if everything is digitized, distribution can start. You can build up processes to manage these experiences from the guests. You can see what they are doing. You can measure these data, like on the heat maps. You can analyze where they are, when they are somewhere. And in the end, you can analyze the activity they are mainly doing in your area, so you can define the DNA. So for instance, the area where I live in, we are a hiking area. We are not very much suitable for cyclists, and we can really see that in the data, that promoting cycling wouldn't ring too much bells in the tourism, because they are not considering us as a cycling area. And with that knowledge, you can attract the right guest, where you can be sure that they have a great experience in the area, and you can improve this process and manage everything behind that whole 360-degree circle. And on the other hand, you're bringing a real added value to the inhabitants, to the residents living from tourism, making their living with tourism. Because if you sharpen this process, the right guests are coming, and they can benefit from the marketing actions and the management actions a destination can sharpen here. Partner network is combining infrastructures existing in a larger area, even in a whole country. So by naming it infrastructure, I mean there are several platforms, several websites out there, several business models as tourism stakeholder can join and make themselves visible within. So in our case, we are operating with really large weather broadcasting companies, industrial partners, all these sport manufacturing companies using the data because they want to get our users, our audience, because they know we are having the outdoor enthusiasts. So that's why they are partnering with us, and we are happy to do so. That the data tourism partners are providing to us are shared into these channels, and that's how they are leveraging their reach. Bringing it down to this project we are in and to the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina. We are operating already with several of these infrastructures existing. You all know, I guess, the Sarajevo Navigator and eventually the bike-friendly standard. And I just stumbled across lately about the new launch of the Otmori website or database by the agency of Lampa. And they are all building that awareness, but so far there is no interaction between them. And to be visible in each single channel of these just mentioned here, you need to join their system, and there is no interface or no interaction between these channels. So a lot of effort needed to be present in each single of these channels. On the right down corner, you see the showcases we are running within this project. And these projects I will refer later to also to visualize the synergy effects by contributing the data to a single database, and this database is sharing the content with existing channels in a certain country. These synergies, by centralizing information into one database, is simplifying the whole process by getting all the relevant information from the right source. Right source, I mean, who is the source who has the best knowledge? So the local businesses where all the major experiences from the guests are happening, they have the best knowledge about their local situation, about the best restaurant, the best food, the best winery, the best overnight stay, and all these knowledge could be shared if they are available. And if they aren't available in a centralized way, how should they be distributed? And this involvement of getting the right information from the right source is a big part of the digitization to build that synergies and have a ecosystem up and running without large resources on staff and persons and employees dealing with that, and without investing too much marketing budget. The instruments necessary for that, for sure, you need a major touch point, which is the destination website, the hotel website, the website of a tour operator. This is still the key touch point for getting awareness for new guests. On the other hand, to gain on-site data, an application would be quite helpful. Either a white label one, so an individual one set up by agencies for your destination, for your larger hotel, to get on-site data, what the people are doing on-site, where they are moving. Managing the content, analyzing your touch points you have in place, all the devices you are using, is the central tool to have everything inside for the management task. I mentioned before that it's more managing and not any longer marketing. Using existing tools and content management tools to digitize the content in several languages. And there are several tools out there who are helping by even translating content into Chinese, if Chinese is one of the relevant markets a tourism stakeholder wants to attract. So pick the right language for your source markets you want to be present in, and the tools are managing it for you, that the software is speaking the right language. Other tools and services are available which can be integrated in websites, because since we know that smartphones are answering most of our questions in a glimpse of a second, the PDF maps or analog information or static information provided somewhere aren't helping in the full picture, because the device of use in 75% of the cases is the smartphone. So the mobile approach is key, and by using the right devices is the path to your success. Building touch points for direct guest communication is another aspect of involving the user on site, like I mentioned before, the engagement. If you don't have the possibility that people can engage, how you should be aware of all the good and bad things happening in your destination. If you have a dashboard of the analytics and the page views, the downloads, the on-site actions of your guests, if you have a central dashboard available with a tool, you don't need to manage it in several tools. Everything is in one place. You get information about the guidance possibility for your travelers. When are the hotspot at a certain highlight or POI, then you can guide them with a suggestion through push notification, for instance, in an application to a different place, that they can instantly see, oh, it's not a good idea to visit this attraction because it's crowded at that time. I will be there. Other example would be live data, for instance, here on a ski resort, that you get open and closed information for ski slopes, that you already know in your planning what to expect on site. And same with current conditions. Current condition means is everything okay in your destination? Are there, all the trails are open? Is there any nature protection period in place, that you're not allowed to enter certain areas in a destination? Like here on the example of Trentino, a really bad storm vanished the whole landscape, and large areas in Trentino looked like this, and the digital picture of this looked like this again. So that plenty of closures have been on an interactive map, that by planning a weekend trip, what I wanted to do here is nearly impossible. And in the planning, you get the information here. The green line on the right hand side is a tour description, and I was interested doing that hike here, but instantly I received a message here that this trail is closed because everything was vanished by the storm. And digitizing these information is avoiding bad experience. So if I wouldn't have that information up front, I would have traveled there, I went there, and I would be highly disappointed about the local experiences and time I wasted going there and just seeing, okay, it's just vanished by this storm, and it's not nice being around there. So also trail management is an aspect of digitization in tourism. That pictures like the Trentino can be reported that, hey, everything is closed here because we have hit by a real bad storm. The maintenance afterwards to get the trails back in shape, to get rid of all these trees fallen over, to replace bridges, stairways, handrails existing in reality, can be managed digital with the right tools. And then you can publish all these trail closures as seen on that interactive map. And in the dashboard, you have an overview of all these aspects and locations of signposts, railways, rail stations, and where they are and in what kind of status they are. Is there maintenance necessary? Are there open tasks to send out a team to replace something? That you are aware of all these open issues your area has, and then digitizing it and managing it is much higher efficiency than doing it in an analog way. Digitizing information about nature protection and their rules is an aspect that I'm in my planning phase. If I get the information, hey, your route description you are looking at is going through a certain nature reserve or national park, and these rules apply, I can plan my trip much more detailed, and I'm aware of, okay, I need to be careful because there is wildlife protection going on in the period I'm planning to go there. In winter, having on this example here in the Alps, the Avalanche report available if you plan a ski tour is also quite handy. That you are not risking anything by not knowing on your tour planner what kind of avalanche level we are having at the moment in the area you want to go to. Knowing the surface information, like how much gravel is on a certain route description, how much asphalt, how is the elevation profile, how high is the stamina of that tour? Is it suitable for me with my family, with the kids? Is it suitable for me sitting in a wheelchair? All that information can be added as attributes to these devices and platforms, that they know what is needed here and what are the efforts a guest needs to invest, and how is the weather like, as you can see in the right upper corner. And the literal managing of the signposts. So you could imagine in Trentino, plenty of signposts needs to be replaced. That if that knowledge of where the signposts are, how they look like, and which one needs to be replaced is a simple task if you have it digitized, that you just can push a button and order this signpost here directly at the manufacturer. And imagine if that would be directly in a single backend, so destination management system to use. That would be ideal in terms of having an ecosystem, taking care about all these tasks, and you as the tourism stakeholder or destination can concentrate on the real focus, building brand awareness, manage your brand, manage the real task appearing on site in your destination. Some takeaways, and then I'm coming to the end with some last slides. Is search for solutions which are helping following a holistic approach. search for that infrastructure I mentioned, building up the synergies, that these synergies are helping. And now we are coming back to the initial sentence, everything will be digitized. In the end, all needs to be digitized, that all the informations are there for the guests they are looking for, because they deciding when and where to consume your information. And if that is given, you can prepare and create the processes necessary to approach the guest. You know it better than myself, all the information relevant in your area, all these hidden highlights, not the single hotspot everyone knows already. So every single aspect which makes your DNA of your area special are relevant information for guests. Necessary processes needs to be accomplished. That processes upfront in their inspiration and planning phase are possible, and afterwards on-site as well, and afterwards for sure that sharing that experiences with their friends and with their surroundings, that they had a great time in your area. All that knowledge you can gain from your guests if you have the tools in place, that you know your guests, you know what they are doing, you know what they are searching for. And then you can benefit from platforms which are distributing the data to increase the reach, to spend less marketing budget, and have more turnover for the businesses relying on tourism on site. And concentrating on these three levels of data models. The infrastructure we ended with, I would start with, because the infrastructure is the base of the layer system of all platforms. The reality in a digital map is key to build everything on top of it. So then the content, the yellow part, is jumping in as an additional layer, that then the content makes sense to place over it and start to marketize that kind of content. And then in the end, you can analyze and get information from your user, from your guest, and sharpen the process of building the DNA and making the right decisions. Another takeaway for sure should be, if you want, we welcome you and invite you to participate in these showcases. They have different focuses, like the Sarajevo showcase. We want to highlight the digitization of the surroundings of a city, that eventually the stay of city travelers could be extended by 1 or 2 overnights by just having the right information about the surroundings available. The Banja Luka showcase is concentrating on local producers, which could be involved to create products passing by these local producers for cheese production, vineyards, whatever, that the tourism products available involving these guys, which are highly contributing to the highlights and benefits of our destination. And the last one is in the area around Mostar. It's a digitization tourism showcase, we renamed it, to visualize and involve everyone in the full destination management tasks, from the trail management towards the analytics and sharpening the whole process. This is focus of this showcase over there. And that's basically it I wanted to refer today. And I hope it was informative enough how we think tourism can be digitized. There are plenty of tools out there which are highly beneficial to work with. We are happy to answer the questions also if you contacting me on this email. And now I would like to see and stop sharing my screen that I can see actually the questions and see what has happened in the chat. Nothing else so far. Any questions there from the participant listening and following? So please unmute your mic and directly ask your question. No questions, everything answered, everything crystal clear? We are in the phase that we have these showcases set up. Everyone is welcome to join this project for free until the mid of next year. We are involving as many participants as possible. Several online trainings and webinars will follow until the mid of next year. And we would like to showcase the possibilities for stakeholders in Bosnia and Herzegovina to use the potential they have. So I heard fairly often what potential this beautiful country has, but in our opinion, it's more than time to use this potential and visualize it. So contact us, contact me via email, and we guide you through the next steps, how you could participate, how you could start being present in all these showcases and being present in the platform of Outeractive to highlight your business you want to promote.
If may I interrupt you?
For sure, Jasmina.
Hello to everybody. My name is Jasmina Ovčina, and I'm working for one Italian NGO calling CISP. We are currently implementing the project promotion of protecting landscape Konjuh. And as Selma asked us what we need to do to start the journey on digitalization, I would like to share our experience with you. Working in the project in protected landscape Konjuh with a lot of stakeholders at the beginning of the journey of the project, we didn't have a network created. We didn't have actors that had benefits or wanted to have benefit from values of protecting landscape collaborating, and that was our main objective in our project. We have created a sort of network of now even more than 30 different partners, starting from civil society organization, private sector, including also representative of Tuzla Canton government, Ministry for Tourism and Ministry for Environment Protection. And as a result, we have created sort of touristic packages promoting a single package, single activity like hiking, mountain biking, even walking to the forest. And I think this is the first step in doing more, like digitalization of all activities that we would like to promote. Our goal is to have one body, one organization that would be the destination management organization. And that I would like to thank you for the presentation. It was very useful, giving us all steps, giving us some advices it would be really for me, for my project, it would be it is very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmina, for your feedback. Okay, someone else? Otherwise, we are sharp on time. I didn't expect that, so I thought we will take much longer. But if there are any questions appearing later on, you got the invitation for that for the webinar. You can answer directly on that invitation as well. You see my email address in that presentation. Just contact me anytime. And I would like to thank you for your time, for your participation, and hopefully we stay in touch and yeah, get the tourism back on track in that difficult time we are all in at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thomas, yeah. Just a moment.
Thank you.
We have in the chat question. Are we going to get the presentation?
Yeah, sure. We will send that around for sure. Everyone can have that presentation. We will send that to the email addresses we are having. And then you can get back on all these slides for sure. Yeah, no problem. As the birds are singing, then I'm closing the session. Thank you once more. Have a beautiful evening.
Yeah.
And take care.
Thank you. Thank you for perfect interpretation.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.